Why did Cary Grant, one of Hollywood's most magnetic stars, refuse to attend Audrey Hepburn's funeral? On the surface, it seems almost impossible to understand. After all, the two shared one of the most iconic on-screen partnerships in cinematic history. Charade, released in 1963, showcased a spark between them that audiences couldn't ignore. A blend of charm, wit, and undeniable chemistry. But their connection went far beyond the silver screen. Behind the scenes, Cary and Audrey developed a rare friendship, one built on mutual respect, affection, and an unspoken understanding that not many outside Hollywood could fully grasp. Cary Grant was not just a star, he was an enigma. Known for his debonair style and effortless charm, he carried an aura of mystery that extended into his private life. Few really knew him, and even fewer had access to the depths of his emotions. Audrey, on the other hand, was known for her grace, warmth, and humanitarian work, especially with UNICEF. Together, they formed a bond that was both genuine and complex, a friendship that balanced light-hearted moments with a deep emotional understanding. So, when Audrey passed away on January 20th, 1993, the world expected grief to be public, to be shared with the countless fans and Hollywood friends who adored them. And yet, Cary Grant did something that shocked many. He stayed away from the funeral entirely. On the surface, it seemed cold, even unthinkable. But the story behind his absence reveals a man who felt deeply, loved quietly, and grieved in a way that was entirely his own. Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn's friendship was anything but ordinary. It began on the set of Charade in 1963, when the cameras weren't rolling and the scripted dialogue faded into private moments of laughter and connection. Despite a 26-year age difference, they immediately found a rhythm that went beyond co-stars. They shared jokes, late-night conversations, and small gestures of kindness that hinted at a deep understanding between them. Friends and colleagues often remarked on the ease with which they interacted, an unspoken chemistry that wasn't about romance, but something quieter, more profound. What made their bond unique was its foundation in mutual respect. Audrey, though revered as a Hollywood icon, trusted few people completely, but she trusted Cary. He, in turn, valued her intelligence, her warmth, and her uncanny ability to remain grounded amid the pressures of fame. They supported each other during difficult times, celebrated each other's successes, and shared a private world that the public never saw. Their friendship thrived in moments off-screen, quiet dinners, whispered advice, or simple companionship. It was a relationship defined not by headlines or paparazzi photos, but by authentic human connection. Even years after Charade, they maintained their closeness. While Hollywood relationships often faded once the cameras stopped rolling, theirs endured, quietly but persistently. Letters, occasional visits, and private phone calls kept the bond alive. To those who knew them, it was clear. Their friendship was rare, treasured, and unshakable. And yet, when Audrey's life came to an end, the depth of that bond would be tested in a way that few could have predicted. Cary Grant was the epitome of Hollywood charm, polished, witty, and seemingly effortless on screen. But off-camera, he was a man of profound privacy. While fans marveled at his dazzling persona, very few truly understood the life he led behind the glimmering lights of Tinseltown. Grant carefully curated his public image, revealing just enough to maintain intrigue while keeping his deepest emotions hidden. Interviews were rare, personal details even rarer. He moved through Hollywood like a carefully constructed enigma, leaving little room for outsiders to glimpse the man behind the smile. This private nature wasn't just a choice, it was a part of who he was. Cary had experienced tumultuous relationships, personal loss, and the pressures of an industry that demanded constant exposure. He had been married 5 times, but even within those relationships, he often struggled to fully express his inner life. Close friends later revealed that he felt emotions intensely, but preferred to process them in solitude, away from the public eye. Displays of grief or vulnerability were deeply personal, rarely shared outside a trusted circle. This careful guard over his life carried over to his friendships. While he could charm the world on screen, the people he allowed into his inner circle, Audrey Hepburn being a notable exception, were treated with a rare intimacy. He valued discretion, loyalty, and emotional honesty from those he trusted, yet he remained fiercely protective of his own feelings. This complexity, this duality of charisma and reticence, explains much about his choices in later years, including the way he faced Audrey's passing. Audrey Hepburn, beloved for her elegance, grace, and humanitarian work, passed away on January 20, 1993, at the age of 63. Her death marked the end of an era, not just in Hollywood, but in the hearts of millions who admired her on-screen performances and her tireless dedication to causes like UNICEF. Audrey's life had been full of contrasts, from her early years marked by war and hardship in Europe to the dazzling heights of Hollywood stardom. She carried herself with a quiet strength and authenticity that left a lasting impression. Her passing was a shock to the world. Audrey had battled appendiceal cancer, a struggle that she faced with remarkable courage and dignity. While the illness remained private, those close to her were painfully aware of her declining health. When the news of her death broke, tributes poured in from around the globe. The public mourned not only an icon, but a woman who embodied compassion and timeless elegance. Audrey's funeral brought together a select circle of family and friends, reflecting the life she had lived both publicly and privately. Her sons, her partner Robert Wolders, ex-husbands Andrea Dotti and Mel Ferrer, and close friends, including fashion designer Hubert de Givenchy, were all present. UNICEF executives and fellow actors, including Alain Delon and Roger Moore, also attended, highlighting the impact she had across multiple spheres. It was a gathering of admiration, love, and sorrow, a testament to the extraordinary life she had led. Yet among all these mourners, one name was notably absent: Cary Grant. Cary Grant's absence from Audrey Hepburn's funeral surprised many, even those who knew his deeply private nature. In a world accustomed to public displays of grief among Hollywood's elite, his decision not to attend stood out sharply. To some, it may have seemed like a cold or detached choice, but the truth was far more complex. Cary Grant grieved in his own way, consistent with a lifetime of handling emotion behind closed doors. He did not need to be seen to feel deeply. In fact, being part of a public ceremony may have been unbearable for someone who valued privacy above all else. Throughout his life, Cary had carefully maintained a boundary between his public persona and his inner world. He avoided the tabloids, shunned unnecessary interviews, and rarely allowed the press to glimpse his personal relationships. This tendency extended even to his friendships, where he cherished intimacy but resisted public attention. Attending Audrey's funeral, surrounded by cameras, reporters, and well-wishers, may have felt like an intrusion into a private bond that was sacred to him. Those who knew Cary speculated that attending the funeral would have forced him into a performative role, one he could not reconcile with the genuine grief he felt. By staying away, he maintained the integrity of his emotions, experiencing them fully and authentically in solitude. It was an absence that spoke volumes. It wasn't a lack of love or respect, but a deeply personal tribute in the way only Cary Grant could give. Even in his absence, his connection to Audrey was undeniable, setting the stage for the profound emotional response that would follow. Though Cary Grant did not attend Audrey Hepburn's funeral in person, his emotions were far from absent. Reports from those who observed the televised service revealed that he wept quietly, immersed in grief from the privacy of his own space. It was a poignant reminder that emotion doesn't need a public stage to be genuine. For Cary, grief was intensely personal, and his tears were a private acknowledgement of a friendship that had deeply shaped his life. This reaction highlighted the profound depth of their bond. On screen, Cary and Audrey's interactions sparkled with charm and humor, but off-screen, their relationship was quietly significant. He had witnessed her growth, her struggles, and her triumphs, and he had supported her in ways few could see. When she passed, he experienced a sorrow that could not be performed for cameras or the public. It was raw, honest, and entirely his own. Cary's choice to grieve privately was also in keeping with the man he had been throughout his life. He had often navigated loss and emotional challenges behind closed doors, processing feelings away from prying eyes. The tears he shed during the televised service were a rare glimpse into his inner world, revealing the emotional honesty he reserved for those he truly cared about. Ultimately, Cary Grant's response to Audrey Hepburn's death underscored the quiet intensity of their friendship. Though he was absent from the funeral, his grief spoke volumes, a testament to a connection that defied public spectacle and celebrated the depth of genuine human emotion. Cary Grant's decision not to attend Audrey Hepburn's funeral was not a reflection of indifference, but a testament to his deeply private nature and the unique bond they shared. Their friendship was forged in quiet moments, off-screen laughter, and mutual respect, far from the glare of Hollywood's cameras. To those who only saw the absence, it may have seemed puzzling, even shocking. Yet, when viewed through the lens of Cary's life and personality, it becomes clear that this was his way of honoring Audrey, authentically, privately, and profoundly. The story of their connection reminds us that grief does not always follow expected patterns. Some mourn openly, while others process their emotions in solitude, away from public view. Cary Grant, with his carefully guarded personal life, chose the latter. He allowed himself to feel the full weight of Audrey's passing, in a space that felt safe and sincere. In doing so, he preserved the integrity of his emotions and the sanctity of their friendship, revealing a depth that few could truly appreciate. Their relationship, unbound by romance but rich with loyalty and admiration, serves as a reminder that true bonds often exist quietly, unseen, yet profoundly felt. While the world witnessed the funeral and the many tributes to Audrey, Cary's personal tribute remained private, a silent testament to love and respect expressed without fanfare. It's a story that underscores the complexity of human connection and the ways in which some relationships are honored most fully in the stillness of the heart.